is HTTP2 support. So you can enable HTTP2 support by opening up your application.yaml and saying micronaut.server.http version, and then choosing 2, and that will essentially enable HTTP2 support in Micronaut on the server. And the other thing you would need to do is, in general, HTTP2 enables implies using the use of HTTPS and TLS. So you would configure SSL in this. You can maybe do a self-signed for development, but in production you would want to configure it to something more appropriate. You want to enable SSL, and then you will have essentially a HTTP2 server. On the client side, what you can do is essentially when you inject a client, like here, you can say that I want a HTTP2 client, and that'll give you an HTTP2 client instead when injecting a low-level client. That same syntax works when you're using a kind of decorative client. So if I had I had a client here, and this was an interface, like so. If this was an interface, we could equally have a client like that, and specify the HTTP2 version, and then inject flu client to get your declarative client. That's using HTTP2 for communication. So that's essentially how HTTP2 is enabled and works. There is still more to do in the area of HTTP2 for Micronaut. So we may want to add future support for pushing files down and so forth. However, the existing static file support and all that kind of business is already, static content support has already been updated and works with HTTP2 push. So that's good.